my name is Nina Namaste, and I am here to talk to you about what does it mean to be fully human. So way back in August, when Reverend Fuller sent out a notice announcing that this year's focus would be enduring questions, I laughed to myself. I laughed because for the past 2 years, I have actively and intentionally sought to construct meaning and purpose in my life. As a result, I have experienced a convergence in the various parts of my life, as if the universe were telling me, yes, you're on the right track. My students were discussing the big questions in my classes. I was asking the big questions of myself, and I was leading big question discussions in adult religious education at my church. Despite the voice within me saying, but you don't ever enjoy speaking in front of crowds, the siren call of enduring questions beckoned. You'll forgive me, I hope, if I can't seemingly follow the simple format of 10 minutes of concentrated focus on myself, and instead periodically pose questions for you to contemplate, thus the golf pencils and index cards on your seats. I promise that such connects with the musings about today's question at hand. So this question of what does it mean to be fully human has been a part of me for a long time, well before I could actually formulate the question. Key moments and people in my life have helped me on my journey of discovery. The mini vignettes that follow reflect pivotal moments that helped me form my definition, though you can imagine there are many more moments than time permits me to share with you. But first, a pause so that you can contemplate a question. So what moments, experiences, or people have transformed the way you thought about life and how you wanted to live? So list 2 or 3 of those moments, if you will, on your index card. Again, the question, what moments, experiences, or people have transformed the way you thought about life and how you wanted to live it? List 2 or 3. And now a few of my own. My Catholic grammar school teachers sighing and saying, "What question do you have now, Nina?" Being truly untalented in just about everything, but nevertheless doing everything earnestly as a child. Had I grown up in the South, I am sure, bless her heart, would have been used on me by just about everyone. Right? The advantage of not being good at just about anything is that you do things intrinsically for themselves instead of for any reward or any trophy or any recognition. Again, bless her heart. Right? And yet, I found I was good at one thing, reading, and I did it with abandon. My parents, who told me that being bicultural and bilingual provided a person with the gift of picking and choosing the best of 2 cultures, while leaving the negative aspects of both aside, and actually seeing them do precisely such a thing. My grandmother telling me stories about living under dictatorship Spain and stating, in war, they can take away everything away from you, but they can never take away your memories nor all that you've learned and experienced. Mr. White, my high school English teacher, who was also the physics and chemistry teacher, and who had run away from home at 16 to become a successful professional baseball player. He embodied what it meant to me to be a Renaissance man, someone who can do anything because they study and try it all. A movie I saw in college about sailing, the title long forgotten, I apologize, that provided me a visual and a word for how I lived and wanted to live my life. Tacking, it's a sailing term, right? The wind doesn't allow you to go straight, so you have to go one way and then turn again, all the while making slow and steady progress towards your end goal. Being accepted into the Great Conversation program at St. Olaf College and spending 2 full years studying the greatest works written in Western civilization. It allowed me to see how others asked and answered the big questions and made me realize just how many voices were left out of the canon. While Plato's concept of the examined life resonated deeply within me, knowing that an examined life that was one that I wanted to lead, it also led me to recognize my utter privilege to have a life that was focused well beyond grueling subsistence. Getting a D in biochemistry 2nd semester of my junior year and forever closing the door on veterinary school. Having Miss Margaret ask me, "You volunteer to read books to the kids in the hospital, you assist me in teaching ESL every week, and you tutor Spanish on campus. Why aren't you studying to become a teacher?" crying nightly with frustration at my apparent ineptitude my first year as a high school teacher, then going to graduate school and buzzing with electricity with all that I was learning and growing, despite it being so challenging for me. Carving $7 per week out of my meager $8,500 graduate student salary so I could go to yoga classes. Choosing via yoga and daily walks in the woods to resist a culture that prized the mind over all else, regardless of the cost to the body, spirit, and soul. As a new college professor being asked to teach a course, Introduction to Liberal Arts, and having to teach what it meant to be a liberally educated person and how to be one. Participating in a cattle workshop and asked to describe in detail how it is that I read a text, and having the aha moment of my career, and having to articulate close reading, I understood truly what it was that I do as a language, culture, and literary analyst. Being faculty director in Costa Rica and witnessing a semester of immense personal and intellectual transformation. It was a semester of constant, what I call teacher crack. It was also a semester in which I had the mental space to be fully present always with myself, my family, and my students. Having a student whom I couldn't move, I have prided myself on being able to figure out what my students need and inviting them on the journey towards growth. Having a student that refused to engage in growing in the areas that I could so clearly see needed development made me deeply question my effectiveness as a facilitator of learning and rekindle my drive to learn new pedagogies. Submitting my tenure file and concomitantly, or as a result of it, having a midlife crisis, which made me dig deep into myself and evaluate whether or not I was fully human. I realized that while I had tact, I had also shuttered off certain parts of me in the process of aiming for my goal of becoming a good professor, a spouse, and a mother. I buckled down and I asked over and over and over, what needs have to be met for me to feel fulfilled? And under what conditions am I my best self at work, at home, and in the community? Over the years, I had negated and almost obliterated any sense of connection with the divine, a truly ironic thing considering my last name, Namaste, which was chosen when my spouse and I married, and in Sanskrit means, I honor the divine in you. I needed to awaken my frozen spirituality and committed to doing so. Living in society provides us many indicators of what is important, and yet I had to rediscover what was meaningful to me and to rekindle the focus on acting purposefully in all that I do. While I certainly want you to contemplate what brings meaning and purpose to your life, even more, I want you to draw yourself. I want you to draw your best self. So stick figures are totally okay, considering if you saw my artwork, you would know that stick figures is beautiful. It's probably better than what I can do. So please draw on the other side of your index card. Take a moment. What does your best self look like? And what do you need to be your best self? So, what in the end does it mean to be fully human, at least to me? It means to actively live Plato's examined life with intentionality and with gusto, with a willingness to risk and fail. It means to be genuinely open to self-improvement, yet acting in a way that respects and nurtures my core talents and passions. It means to tack repeatedly, to read, to think, to talk with others, to decide upon a course of action, to try it out, to evaluate it, and to make another decision, for life is never a straight path. It means consciously picking and choosing the best parts of the cultures that I inhabit and letting go of the rest. It means constantly reaching, stretching, pushing, growing, learning. It means acknowledging that I have a choice if I choose to perceive it that way. To take responsibility, responsibility for the power that choice confers, and to take the time to uncover the factors that may be influencing my actions. It means continually asking the big questions, the whys and the hows for me, and finding peace in knowing that seeking the answers is more important than finding them. It means actively constructing meaning in my life by doing what is purposeful for me, and by providing opportunities for others to think and act purposefully as well. It means constructing the circumstances under which I can be my best self as much of the time as possible. It means integrating the various parts of my life and acting from a place of mind, body, and spirit wholeness. Is this easy for me? No. It is the daily mindful practice of living and my expression of being fully human.